Hello and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Joke Rogers at Channels Television here in Lagos.
And I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America in Washington, D.C. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Joke Rogers brings you that story.
Governor Inuwa Yaya of Gombe State in northeast Nigeria says his administration has mapped out plans to reach out to more poor and vulnerable persons in the 11 local government areas of the state. The governor says his administration has introduced policies like wage grants to civil servants, food and agricultural support, and other measures to cushion the impact of fuel subsidy removal on citizens.
Governor Inuwa Yaya of Gombe State has flagged off another distribution of palliatives to 90,000 poor and vulnerable persons in Gombe State. This is part of the plan of the state government to reach out to more poor and vulnerable persons in the 11 local government areas in the state.
I've advised that this palliative we're giving out should get to the needy, the really vulnerable people that are downtrodden and are needing this help. And we did it in a way that it will reach all the 2,998 polling units. And in each unit, at least 30 people are going to benefit from this palliative. We've done that previously, that covered 420,000 people. And today, what we are doing is going to cover approximately 90,000 people.
The items distributed include bags of rice and cartons of spaghetti, among others. The idea of the distribution is to support the poorest of the poor, regardless of party or religious affiliation, who are affected by the removal of fuel subsidy.
I am thankful to the governor of Gombe, Damaji Gombe, for always bettering the life of the masses. May God continue to protect him. This is his character. May God uplift him.
We are appreciative to the governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yaya. Alhamdulillah, this thing that he is doing, we appreciate it. And alhamdulillah, we are benefited about it. We are not feeling anything. But alhamdulillah, whether fuel removal, whether subsidy there, no problem.
In August 2023, the first phase of the food palliative intervention was rolled out, targeting 420,000 poor and vulnerable people in the state.
And joining us to discuss the initiatives in Gombe State is the State Budget Officer, Mrs. Martha Daniel. Thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Right, so tell us about the activities of budget in Gombe State.
Okay. Budget in Gombe State, particularly Tracker, is set up to raise a community of active citizens who will demand accountability from their legislators and representatives as regards the implementation of projects, particularly constituency projects, the monitoring of government spendings, and also the monitoring of budgets.
Right, and Gombe State is currently distributing palliatives consisting of rice and other food items. There's a lot on the list. I don't want to mention them all. To about 90,000 of the most vulnerable people. What's your assessment of the distribution so far?
My assessment is the government is a bit transparent for them to even include us. And right from when the letter was sent to them, they never left us out, and they wanted somebody independent to share their thoughts and views on it. And I really appreciate them for that.
Have they reached the target beneficiaries? How have you been able to track the distribution?
Yeah, we work with community champions in the state who are resided in other LGAs. For me, I'm at the state capital and I'm reaching out to them to also track. I want to appreciate the ES of the State Emergency Management Agency, who has always brought me up to speed as regards distribution of these palliatives. The palliatives are getting to the target audience, but completely it has not reached everyone yet, because as at yesterday, goods are still moving to other LGAs. Well, we are keeping our ears down to see that the agents who have been assigned this palliatives do justice to it. We don't want to hear that the numbers have reduced, because it is 25 persons per polling unit, and Gombe State has 2,988 polling units.
And how involved, are those people who are representing the various constituencies? I'm talking about lawmakers now. How involved are they in the distribution of these palliatives as well, to ensure that they also get to their constituents?
Well, this is a federal government palliative and is not a constituency project. The legislators are not too involved for some reasons. The government of the state is in charge of this distribution, because all through my tracking, I've not had contact with any of the legislators. So far, so good. It's just the government, the committee in charge, and tracker. Although the government said they have their own monitoring team, fine. Well, the legislators are not included in the distribution. It is just the committee, and to the ward level and to the target audience. And
did you identify any gaps in the distribution process that you would like the government to address?
Yes, definitely. First, when I was invited over to the warehouse, one of their complaints was the fact that some of the goods at the warehouse are beginning to get spoiled. 30%, particularly the maize, 30% of them are not useful anymore. So it's obvious some of these things have stayed very long in the warehouses, and for me it's a gap they must work to see that these gaps are filled. We don't want incidences that palliatives get to be wasted because of probably one or two negligence. The second instance is we observe at the site of the flag off, after the departure of the governor, the SSG and the deputy governor, security was not so tight, so the palliatives were looted, but the ones that were brought for the flag off. Yes. Then lastly, we have started getting little complaints that some agents, the number to be given to the target audience is declining. So I think subsequently the government should sit up and ensure that agents distribute accordingly and they don't have to shunt the masses.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So other than that, do you think the palliatives being given, do you think they're enough to cushion the effect of a removal of subsidy on fuel?
Well, as the deputy governor said, he said the palliative is an ongoing thing. They will be coming in trenches. While I would not say absolutely that it is enough, well, it can go at least a long way, since the civil servants have been taken care of by the provision of 10,000 stipend in their salaries, and this is to reach the poor of the poorest. It will do something, even though not 100%, 50%, it can take care of them. During the rainy season, there was a flag up for fertilizers and other things, and there will be another set of palliative distribution even after this. And I sincerely want to appreciate the deputy governor for chairing this committee and the transparency and access he gave tracker in the state. And I'm glad that we were not shut out of this process.
Right. Thank you for your time today. That's the State Officer Budget Tracker for Gombe State, Mrs. Martha Daniel. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.
After the break, as Johannesburg, South Africa's most populous city, struggles to keep up with housing demands, some residents find themselves in subpar housing. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent Makori in Washington. Johannesburg, South Africa's most populous city, has for years struggled to keep up with the housing demand due to an influx of people who come in search of opportunities. Some residents, many with little financial means, find themselves in subpar housing that has a high risk of fire and little to no access to water and electricity. Jan Bonan reports from Johannesburg, South Africa.
More than 70 people died in late August in a fire that engulfed a so-called hijacked building, a dwelling left vacant and neglected in the 1990s, when businesses left Johannesburg's inner city for the affluent suburbs. Housing officials say crime syndicates soon took over the dwellings, sometimes with fraudulent housing deeds they used to collect rent from unsuspecting residents, who either pay or are pushed out. According to government statistics, thousands live in such buildings across the city, with little access to clean drinking water, electricity and plumbing amid an affordable housing crisis. While criminal syndicates are often linked to hijacked buildings, the situation is sometimes more complicated. In some cases, legal ownership of the housing is in question. Inner city resident Lizweletse Ndlovu and his neighbors have been waiting for the courts to rule on a years-long dispute over the ownership of the building they live in. In the meantime, court has ordered a hold on rent payments, although residents must continue to pay for services while a final judgment is pending.
Because we have got more than 2 people claiming to own the place, we have to put the money together as a community and buy whatever it has to be bought. And we fix some of things like plumbing, we do ourselves, cleaning, we do ourselves, while we wait for the courts.
The city of Johannesburg says it has intervened in recent years to address the challenge of hijacked buildings and plans to acquire buildings whose owners are not traceable. But for Freda Mutswane, who lives in an unlawfully occupied building believed to be owned by the city, political promises feel empty. Residents there say they have been without running water since May 2022 and must rely on a fire hydrant for their water needs.
But since from last year, after we got the problem of water, since then they never come and fix anything. They keep on promising us.
Experts say that a housing crisis lies behind the substandard living conditions.
Well, these spaces in which thousands of inner city residents are living emerge out of an urban housing crisis. And so many low-income households are forced to live either in very poor conditions or unlawfully. And criminality and exploitation arises out of that.
Sifiso Zuma is the treasurer for the Inner City Federation, a coalition of tenants and unlawful occupiers. He says politicians aren't listening to their pleas for help.
If you want to go to their office, they are not going to allow you to go and talk to them. But if there's a tragedy like this one, it's where you are going to see them. Then after this is done.
In the aftermath of the devastating August fire, a city spokesperson says city, provincial and national officials have been meeting to address the housing crisis and find a way to improve the living conditions of inner city residents. Jan Borman, VOA News, Johannesburg, South Africa.
The Christmas Eve attacks, which claimed lives of about 200 people in Plateau State, could not have been as a result of farmer-herder crisis. Now, this is the submission of governors under the aegis of the North Central Governors Forum, who have blamed the incident on what they describe as the sheer acts of criminality, which must be treated as such. The chairman of the forum and governor of Nasarawa State, Mr. Abdullahi Sule, stated this when he led 2 of his counterparts, Reverend Father Hyacinth Ali of Benue State and Umaru Bago of Niger State, on a condolence visit to Plateau State, where they donated 100 million naira for the victims of the attacks.
Governors from Nigeria's North Central region are the latest to visit Plateau after the Christmas Eve attack on some communities. The chairman of the forum, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, leads the delegation in the company of Governor Hyacinth Ali of Benue State and Governor Umaru Bago of Niger State. They are joined by officials, federal lawmakers, as well as traditional leaders from the states. Plateau is in north-central Nigeria, and the governors want the attack to be treated as a criminal act.
We cannot allow a few people, for whatever selfish reasons, to come in and destroy all of us. Because at the end of the day, those who are suffering have nothing to do with this minority. It's innocent people that are being slaughtered, are being killed by criminals. Because that's the word to use for anybody who will just come. It's not about Fulani. It's not about herders. This is about criminals. And we should take it as such and address it as such.
The governors donated a sum of 100 million naira to the victims to facilitate the return of displaced families to their ancestral lands.
Bandits are terrorists. There is no other word to explain it. Kidnappers are thieves, but bandits are terrorists. And we need to label them as such, so that we deal with them as such.
The Bongwam Jos appreciates the gesture and makes a case for the establishment of the North Central Development Commission to address some of the challenges in the region.
We are Nigerians, bona fide Nigerians, and we deserve to be recognized accordingly. And so what is good for the others is also good for us. There are no dams in North Central State. Because we can, like His Excellency had noticed, we can do both dry season and rainy season farming effectively. And it will surprise that vehicles from Burkina Faso and far countries, they come in here.
The visit of the North Central Governors Forum to Plateau State to commiserate with the government and the people has also opened the opportunity for the region to curiously look into various issues.
The North Central governors are united, and from what you heard from one of us, we are now eager to ensure that we make impact in our various states and the North Central in general. As a matter of fact, we are already planning a security and economic summit jointly by the North Central. We have met a few times to discuss about this joint partnership.
The governors are insisting that those behind the act must account for their actions and brought to face justice.
Kenya's Health Ministry has rolled out a digital health information system to help workers diagnose patients and store their health records. Mohammed Yusuf reports from a village in Western Kenya where hospitals have recorded an increase in people seeking medical assistance since the deployment of the system.
Mildred Owegi is one of 3,000 community health promoters in Kisumu County in Western Kenya. Owegi, who has been doing this work for 30 years, recently started using a digital health information system on the job. A phone app allows her to diagnose diseases before administering medication and to know when to advise people to visit a health facility.
Because normally we are using these handouts. We are just using handouts. And the phone is good because the phone is directing you on what to do. So you can do what the phone is telling you. So you can do the right thing.
Lillian Okelo, a mother of twins, is embracing the new system.
I like the digital way of taking the health data of the children because when they always come, I always see them just reading what is in the phone and doing exactly what they're supposed to do compared to the manual one.
Kenya launched the digital health information system last month, providing smartphones to 100,000 health workers nationwide with the goal of improving the quality of healthcare. Health experts say the system could push Kenya closer to universal health coverage, ensuring people can access healthcare services anytime and anywhere. In the past few weeks, in this hospital in Kisumu County, the number of patients seeking medical services has increased from 700 to 1,800.
The number of patients has increased a lot. More so, again, the guys who have achieved a lot in terms of the digitalization of HIV clans and TB clans, because we can detect them early, we call them a day before, and they come.
The local government says the deployment of electronic system allows it to plan for the healthcare needs of the people.
So we don't have to look for data because it is within a touch.
and we can use it to project what we might have. For example, we can say that next year we're expecting this number of the deliveries. Next year, this year we expect to consume this amount of commodities. This year, these are our baseline mobility levels. So we expect next year we need to prepare for a similar or something higher or lesser.
The project still faces hurdles such as the lack of reliable data networks in some areas. For now, health workers are advised to seek places with good connectivity when helping people in need. Mohammed Yusuf, VOA News, Kolal, Kenya.
Tourists have joined the call for the federal government to step up security and infrastructure development to promote Nigeria's tourism potentials as a non-oil revenue source. The son of former President Shehu Shagari, Mr. Musa Shehu Shagari, made the call when he led bikers and stunts drivers from across the country to the 11th edition of the Idoma International Carnival in Otukpo, Benue State.
Life is gradually returning to the ancient city of Otukpo after the deadly bank robbery that claimed the lives of 10 persons, including the divisional police officer. Otukpo, the headquarters of Idoma natives, is alive for the 11th edition of the Idoma International Carnival. Tourists across the country are attending the carnival, which is featuring several activities, including bike riding and car stunts.
It's an event that involves sports and tourism. Basically, these two things. And then also, culturally, we get to mix up with people from different parts of Nigeria, different cultures.
And we want the world to know that something like this is happening in Otukpo ground, or the kingdom of the Idoma people. And truly speaking, it's something that people really need to come into and invest into, because a lot of things are really happening here.
The carnival also showcased musical talents from Enugu, Nasarawa, FCT, Kaduna, Borno, Cross River and River States. The dust from the deplorable Otukpo-Enugu Federal Highway did not deter the participants from showcasing their beautiful and colorful costumes from different backgrounds. The beautiful feeling of love and unity pervades the people as organizers and participants share their thoughts.
Back here in Benue, we do not have, industries. We do not have, the oil and gas like other places will have. But we'll have land, we'll have culture. So if we can build on those and, harness the potentials in that, it becomes something that people from everywhere would come here and be part of.
This carnival bring the Idoma nation together. In fact, bring the whole Nigeria together at large, because people from different states also come and witness this event every year, and I'm sure they have lots of fun as much as I do myself.
The idea of the carnival is to foster unity among the people of Nigeria while pushing to improve security and infrastructure for the people.
A California tech startup is using artificial intelligence to mask the accents of call center workers. The goal is to reduce the ill feelings workers encounter when taking calls from people who have trouble understanding them. Matt Dibble has the story.
In the global economy, a call to a customer service center will likely be answered by someone in a faraway part of the world.
Just bear with me for a moment.
Call center workers can train for months to effectively communicate with customers whose native language and culture differ from theirs. Despite all the training, an agent's accent can trigger biased reactions from a caller, says developer Sharath Narayana.
Now I'm connected to somebody that I can't relate to, or his voice that I cannot relate to. Can this person actually solve my problem?
Narayana is a co-founder of California-based Sanus AI, whose technology can adjust the way a speaker sounds, with the goal of making an accent more relatable. A call center agent from the Philippines demonstrated.
Hi, my name is Iggy. I'm from Parañaque. Hi, my name is Iggy. I'm from Parañaque.
The agent speaks normally into a microphone, and the AI system detects phonemes, which are the sound components of words.
And what we're essentially doing is real time, is matching those phonemes to how that phoneme should sound in an American accent.
Discrimination and abuse by callers are among the factors leading to high turnover among call center workers. Narayana himself once worked in such a center, and although he doesn't excuse the behavior of callers, he says SANUS makes the job easier for agents.
If there is a technology solution to it, where I don't have to change the way I sound, but the other person can understand me very, very clearly, why isn't it a beautiful thing?
Because I was able to listen to one of my calls using SANUS, and wow.
It looks like English is my first language.
Narayana says that 97% of agents with an optional SANUS system installed are using it every day. Matt Dibble, VOA News, Palo Alto, California.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. Do remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Joke Rogers. Thanks for watching and goodbye.